Alright, so, welcome back to another video. We're standing at the infamous Spring Garden station under a bridge where all of the buses leave from because Philadelphia hasn't had a proper intercity bus station for years. Anyway, we're standing here because in about 15 minutes I am due to catch a FlixBus to Reading. So yeah, very early on in this channel, I made a video talking about how the Amtrak thruway connecting bus was going away. Now hopefully OurBus would bring it back. Well, newsflash, they did, but also FlixBus got into the game. So now there's actually several options to get to Reading, several round trips per day. There's more on some days than others though. OurBus did trim the schedule back after FlixBus entered the market and no longer offers trips every day. But yeah, it's just a Sunday today. But I'm going to go visit Reading. I'm going to take FlixBus there and OurBus back. And while we're there, we're going to do something a little special. Excuse me, is this the bus going to Reading?
Right.
Good, okay. Well, we had a very slight issue with my ticket initially, but we got that resolved. I'm not exactly sure how. The second time I tried to scan it, I pulled it up with the PDF in my email instead of the direct QR that was actually in the email. I'm not sure if that made any difference or not, or if it just like updated itself. I'm not sure. I mean, I only bought the ticket like an hour ago because I kind of decided to do this at the last minute. But it worked and I'm on the bus. Just a very standard FlixBus, and it's actually branded FlixBus. And so yeah, this is not going to be that long of a trip. There's no intermediate stops. It's probably not going to be full. So yeah. Also, this ticket was only about $15, so it's a pretty good price. Looks like people are very slowly trickling onto the bus. Well, we pulled out about 30 seconds early. Man, this thing is congested to hell on a Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock. That's insane.
A little later.
After we got past King of Prussia, we got on the turnpike actually, which I guess makes sense. It's a little bit less direct, I think, but since we don't have to stop at Pottstown, I guess it makes some sense. And it's probably slightly faster because I think the speed limit is higher. I think it's like 70 versus 55 on 222. So I guess this makes sense. But yeah, definitely slightly different than how the Amtrak bus would go. At least the good thing is that now that we're out of the Philadelphia region, traffic is much better and we're actually moving. There's not a whole lot of interest in filming a bus ride, to be honest. It's a bit challenging to come up with anything to really do or say. It's just, we're driving, I guess. And we're going to keep driving until we get to Reading. So, that's why I've come up with a little bit of extra content when we get there. Because I figured just covering the bus trips alone is not that interesting. pretty early, actually.
Alright, we made it to our final destination. Please be sure to grab all your belongings before exiting the coach. Once again, thank you for choosing FlixBus, and I wish everyone a great rest of your day.
So the cool thing is I think we've actually arrived early enough that I can catch an earlier bus than I was originally planning to get. The only question is exactly where it leaves from. The departure time on the board said 4:43. It's scheduled for 4:30, but I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I guess I'll just stand around and wait for it. I think it's interesting how the FlixBus sort of just pulled in here and then parked right at the entrance. I don't know if it has a dedicated bus terminal or not, but yeah, I don't know exactly how they worked this out with the city of Reading, but at least I'm glad that there is service. And it's service that pretty much actually kind of approximates, at least in quality, the Amtrak service that we lost. And actually the times are actually slightly better, I think. So my bus left Philly at 3, and I was supposed to get in at latest 4:40, but we ended up getting in at 4:20. So yeah. Overall, no complaints. It was a very smooth, comfortable ride. It was a very empty bus. So yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about that, except, I'm very glad that the service now exists, and I'm very glad that it's actually quite cheap. I think it's actually cheaper than Amtrak was, if I'm not mistaken, by quite a bit. Now, unfortunately, my return trip is not going to be as cheap. It's actually 3 times the price. But that's also partly because I bought it last minute. So, anyways. Yeah, this one cost about 15. My return trip, the fare is listed as 35, but it ended up costing me 40 after all the junk fees, because junk fees are such a classic part of buying a bus ticket. Anyways, just as soon as that bus gets ready to leave, I'm going to get on bus 1, northbound, and I'm going to show you where we're going. Okay, so quick update. It says departs 4:42 according to the sign, but the bus just pulled away. I don't think anyone was on it, though. I don't really understand what happened. Hopefully that wasn't actually my bus leaving. I have no idea where it's gone or where it's going, or if it's just moving to a different stop. Because I remember from last time I was here, they can often do that. They can just pull into a different stop, and then you're supposed to get it there. I'm going to trust the board that it is actually going to leave at 4:42 instead of having already left at 4:30, because I'd be kind of upset if that were the case. But anyways, I wasn't even planning on catching the bus until 5. This just gives me a little bit of extra time. So yeah, I am going to stay optimistic. But bus 1 is one of the more frequent routes, and on weekdays it runs every 20 minutes, and on weekends it runs every 30, including on Sundays, so it's better than it could be, and the buses are nice. It's just I'm a little worried that because of the public transportation funding crisis that's ongoing at the time I'm filming this video, they might get turbo screwed by the Pennsylvania State Legislature. So, yeah, that's the only thing I'm concerned about at this time. Well, the bus has shown up pretty much when predicted. It is now 4:40, and that is the arrival time that was shown on the board, but the driver disembarked. I'm not sure if they're going to use the bathroom or what, but obviously I'll stick around and wait to get on. Looks like I'm the only rider on this bus right now, which is interesting. We are departing a little late. It is 4:44. This was supposed to be a 4:30 bus. But either way, it's fine. I don't have any transfers to catch. This will take me straight there pretty much. And I wonder if I'll still be the only one on by the time I get off. Somehow I wouldn't be that surprised if that were true. But anyways, let's find out. Okay, my conjecture was proven wrong. We do have somebody else joining us. Not that long after we left the transportation center either, so that's good to see the bus getting some usage, I suppose. Last time I was in Reading, I actually did ride bus 1, but I didn't ride it this far out. And it actually goes even further than I'm going to take it, but yeah, this is the main north-south trunk route in the city. And it's also one of the most frequent routes that they have. So here we take our little detour out to Boscov's. OurBus actually also stops here, and I really have no idea why. Maybe it's a more convenient park and ride spot for people who aren't downtown. I guess that could make some sense. But yeah, it's really a shame how empty all these parking lots are. Just a symptom of modern urban planning for you. This parking lot could easily be half the size as it is, as you can see from just looking at it. I mean, sure, it's a Sunday, but it's so empty. It could be so much smaller. Well, yet again, we have another gigantic parking lot that is horrendously underused. Because that's how things work around here. But in any case, we have gotten off the bus just on the stop just after going into the Boscovs. That was always the plan. And now, here's why I came to Reading. Well, not just to review the new bus services, because I'm a transportation-based channel, but besides that, I'm going to get an old favorite of mine, this pizza buffet. It's like CC's, but cleaner. Yeah, the only CC's I ever went to was pretty disastrous. But it's kind of like that, but nicer. And I got into this as a kid, and I still like it. Unfortunately, the only location that they had that was within SEPA's service area in Phoenixville closed down just a few months ago. So the nearest one is now in Reading. Next best is that there's one in Lancaster, which still I would have to pay for an Amtrak ticket out there. But that's not as interesting as reviewing these two buses. So I did that instead. I came out to Reading to have my favorite pizza buffet, Infinitos. I'll catch back up with you after I'm done.
A little later.
All right. I have finished eating. It's just as good as I remember. I haven't actually been for a little while. Yeah, I would sometimes go to the other locations whenever I would be near them because, couldn't pass up an opportunity. But yeah, I do recommend this place. It's pretty cheap too. It's only $16 for a meal and a drink. At least as of recording, at least that's what I paid at this particular location. So yeah, it's pretty good. And while I wouldn't normally make the effort to come out to Reading or Lancaster purely to go get Infinitos, I can definitely say that I'm glad to take some time to go do it since I was already going to be here. to review the FlixBus and the OurBus. So now, the only thing I have to do is figure out how to cross this gigantic strode that we came in on, to figure out exactly where I can cross the street to catch my southbound bus 1. I think I have somewhere around 5 to 10 minutes to figure out how to get over there. I might have to walk a little bit in order to find a good crossing, but we will see. Yeah, getting here was pretty simple because it dropped me off on the right side of the street, but leaving is somewhat challenging. But I do believe it's that bus shelter over there, which I actually believe I was supposed to be dropped off at the corresponding bus shelter on this side of the road, but the driver for some reason let me off sooner. I really don't know why. I mean, it worked out better for me because I was closer to where I wanted to go, but I thought I'd be let off here. In any case, I now have to cross the street, which is going to be somewhat less than completely easy to do. I guess the one upside to this pattern of development is that it's not sprawling, it's just all linear. So you can serve all of these high-capacity commercial areas with one bus that just runs up and down both sides of this road. It's a very wide road, it's a very uncomfortable road, but at least it's not impossible to cover with the bus. Oh, there's a lot more people on this one, which I guess makes sense. This is probably more like the commuter hours, right? It's after 6 p.m. now, so I guess that makes more sense. And of course, we immediately do our bus cost deviation. We pulled in right next to this one, which I guess is a northbound trip. That's funny. I guess we just meet here at the same time, huh? I'm actually not completely sure if that's intentional or not, but that just happened to work out this time, which is kind of funny. Okay, now the only problem that I have is that my OurBus doesn't leave for 2 hours. So I have to find something to do in those 2 hours. Fire truck. I have to find something to do in those 2 hours that isn't just to go get something to eat. Maybe I could take another bus, but I don't know. Well, I got 2 hours to kill, so I might as well ride some buses around for no reason. This is actually an incredibly short bus route. We're already at the terminus, I think. That's interesting. I didn't actually have to disembark, but I do believe that we just kind of turned around. I didn't have to disembark. I didn't have to pay again. That's cool. The only unfortunate thing is that after this, I'm not even sure what there is left to do. The buses stopped running very early on Sunday. I still have like an hour and a half to kill. I don't really know what to do. And we're back again. And nope, that is it. Departure board is empty. That was the last one. Well, I guess I could walk around the city just a bit. why not? And then we'll come back here. Well, actually, the bus doesn't leave from here. So actually, I do have to head down towards downtown because it actually leaves from there, not here. But anyways. You know what I'm going to do right now? Acquire myself more soda. I actually had a lot of soda at Infinitas, but I don't care. I've been really thirsty lately. In any case, the walk from the transportation center over to Penn Street, which is where the bus shelter is for my bus back home, isn't that far. It's only a few blocks.
A little later.
So it's kind of funny. I went on a little stroll up and down Penn Street just to see some of the city and everything. And as I was coming back, I saw an OurBus van just kind of pull up. So it's a bit early, but I'm glad I'm here to see it so that way I can be here for when they start boarding it. Oh, apparently it's pulling away. I don't know. You know what? I wonder if what they're doing. I wonder if what they're doing is going to the Boss Cops location. That would make a lot of sense. Or maybe they aren't allowed to park there forever and have to circle the block or something like that. I don't know. Either way, it's not due till 8:30 and it's 8 o'clock now, so I'm not worried that, somehow I just missed it or something, but it was a bit weird to see it pull up and then pull away. Honestly, I guess the big issue about Reading is just that there's not a lot to do, especially on the weekends. The town's too small and I guess a little just too depressed. I don't know. But it's really just kind of empty in a way that Philly never is. I guess, yeah, that's it. That's really the only complaint I have about it. After spending a few hours with nothing to do, having to walk around and, kill time and realizing that there's just not a lot to do. A lot of stuff's closed. Anyways, the bus should be here in a few minutes again. Well, it's more of a van, not a bus, but it should be here in a few minutes. And it looks like I'm not the only one taking it. A bunch of people are kind of gathering at the bus stop, but it's going to be a small operation. OurBus definitely has a smaller thing going than Flix does, which might help explain why the price is higher. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to walk back over to that bus shelter where it's due and just kind of chill out and wait for it. I mean, I've been sitting under a different bus shelter this entire time just to get a little bit more, I guess, pseudo-solitude from everybody else who's waiting for this. But hey, look at that, there it is. That's some crazy timing. Yeah, they can fit more seats in this thing than I thought they could. I did a very cursory name check. They didn't check my QR code or anything. I think we're still waiting on like one more person if I understood the driver correctly, so I guess if we weren't, we might leave early, but I think we are. So we're getting out of here about 10 minutes late. In any case, I'm so glad I have this lavalier mic because it's really awkward to talk right now because it's so quiet in here, and yeah, there's only 4 of us, so I would feel really weird about talking any louder than this. But anyways, I'm not sure if we have any other intermediate stops to make. I know that this does stop, this theoretically is supposed to stop in Pottstown, and it's supposed to stop in this park and ride out in Limerick and King of Prussia park and ride. And honestly, it would have been far cheaper for me to get off at any of those intermediate stops. But I'm a little impatient to get back home, so I decided to just take it the whole way and pay more for it. In fact, I think to go to Pottstown would have only been like $6 or something like that. So, yeah. Alright, so we did stop in Pottstown. Picked up one more passenger. Well, as it turns out, we did not stop at King of Prussia. Well, anyway, this bus continues to the Philadelphia airport and to Wilmington, Christiana, Delaware. But obviously I'm just getting off at Philadelphia. And I think so are most of the people on this bus. Okay, we are now at 30th Street Station Head House. The driver normally wouldn't have let us off here. That's not listed as a stop, but there was a couple on the train that said they were going to Atlantic City after this and was catching the train. And so she let us all off here after we all agreed that this was a better spot to be let off than the Schuylkill and Walnut regular bus stop, which is a couple of blocks away from here. So yeah, we were let off here. I'm going to head back home now. This is definitely a smaller, quainter experience than the FlixBus. Much more casual. The driver is just playing music over the radio and talking to us a little bit. Sorry if it was a bit dark in there. I know that it might have been hard to see anything because it was so dark in there, especially as it got darker. But anyways, it's a bit expensive. FlixBus is definitely cheaper, and FlixBus usually does operate an evening trip back. I just wanted to experience both of the options that now exist between Reading and Philly, and so I deliberately scheduled FlixBus out and OurBus back, even if FlixBus back might have been somewhat better or something like that. But in any case, as long as you're willing to pay the money, it's definitely, I definitely wouldn't recommend against it in any way. It's definitely a reasonable trip, and yeah, if you want to save some money, you can always just book it from Reading to one of the intermediate stops, or if you're going outbound, you can originate your trip at, say King of Prussia, and it'll be significantly cheaper. So anyway, I'm gonna get on the subway now to go home, and thanks for watching. See you next time.